We are. The proudest moment indeed is the most recent tour when we saw the project really shaping up towards its conclusion. And then, of course, second is the cooperation, the partnership that we had in the board. African ambassadors, Asian ambassadors, European ambassadors. This Africa Hall project is a symbol. As a Rwandan myself, as an ambassador representing my president here in Addis Ababa, PR to the AU, PR to UNECA, I feel that we are now remembering our history several decades ago. And we are now having this heritage being put at the level of current modern status, where we have a facility going back to the time when our forefathers, the leaders at that time, sat there to forge unity, to talk about the destiny of Africa. So very, very important for me as an ambassador of Rwanda here in Addis Ababa. History is part of our life. An important milestone like this certainly is a big mark in the African history. It is a big mark in a sense that our children today, it's very important for them to have a facility like this where they can come, see what transpired in this important hall several decades ago, in as far as the unity of Africa is concerned, those who thought about it long time ago. So today, people must study, the young generation must understand where we have come from, what we need to do to take forward the vision of our leaders several decades ago. Very, very important facility. This is a facility that should be talked about so that in all corners of our continent, people get to know what this facility stands for. Very, very, very important. And again, to our children, this facility is a symbol. It is a symbol of our past, and it is a symbol of our tomorrow. Visiting it and seeing what is there will be a very, very important point and teaching aid to our future generation. The proudest moment indeed is the most recent tour when we saw the project really shaping up towards its conclusion. And then, of course, second is the cooperation, the partnership that we had in the board. African ambassadors, Asian ambassadors, European ambassadors. This Africa Hall project is a symbol. As a Rwandan myself, as an ambassador representing my president here in Addis Ababa, PR to the AU, PR to UNECA, I feel that we are now remembering our history several decades ago. And we are now having this heritage being put at the level of current modern status, where we have a facility going back to the time when our forefathers, the leaders at that time, sat there to forge unity, to talk about the destiny of Africa. So very, very important for me as an ambassador of Rwanda here in Addis Ababa. History is part of our life. An important milestone like this certainly is a big mark in the African history. It is a big mark in a sense that our children today, it's very important for them to have a facility like this where they can come, see what transpired in this important hall several decades ago, in as far as the unity of Africa is concerned, those who thought about it long time ago. So today, people must study, the young generation must understand where we have come from, what we need to do to take forward the vision of our leaders several decades ago. Very, very important facility. This is a facility that should be talked about so that in all corners of our continent, people get to know what this facility stands for. Very, very, very important. And again, to our children, this facility is a symbol. It is a symbol of our past, and it is a symbol of our tomorrow. Visiting it and seeing what is there will be a very, very important point and teaching aid to our future generation.
afternoon, everyone. Bon après-midi. Good afternoon once again. Allow me to say welcome, bienvenue, marhaba, and benvindo. Just a few housekeeping announcements. We want to thank you for your patience and your indulgence as we are running a little bit behind schedule, but I'm happy to announce that we are ready to start our formal part of the program. So thank you for being here with us. I will request that we put our phones on silent so that once we begin the formal proceedings of our opening session this afternoon, that your phones may be on silent. We will also be offering translation services for your listening pleasure to allow you to follow along with the proceedings. English is on channel 1, French on channel 2, and Arabic on channel 3. Once again, English on channel 1, French channel 2, and Arabic on channel 3. Our dignitaries will be moving into the building shortly, so we'll keep paying attention to the screens. We do have a live stream so that you can follow what is happening outside as they join us in the hall. And once again, welcome. You all look amazing, so you can smile for the camera and make sure you greet somebody next to you. Don't leave here without meeting somebody new, including me. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, our dignitaries have arrived, and they are now in the main hallway of Africa Hall at the foyer. What you see behind them is the renowned stained glass mural by the late Afewerk Tekle, which has also been meticulously restored, and you'll see the 3 sections of it, which represent the spaces in which we exist: the past, the present, and the future. And now our dignitaries will proceed to unveil the plaque of the Africa Hall. You see there His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, accompanied by Mr. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Moussa Faki Mahamat, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, and Mr. Mohamed Salem Ould Merzoug, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mauritania, representing the chair of the African Union for 2024. A round of applause, thank you. The plaque has been unveiled to mark this momentous occasion. They're taking a moment to read what it says. I wish my eyesight was better, but you can have a look at it when you walk out later. A lot of smiling and handshaking going on now, as is expected. We are honored today to also have some of the descendants and family representatives of some of the founding fathers with us. So this is really a great occasion today. All right, we'll have a musical interlude from our band who have been entertaining us so beautifully. They are known as Quartet Addis, and they will now be giving us a little music as we wait for our dignitaries to join us in the hall. Welcome. Welcome once again, Your Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Moussa Faki Mahamat, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mr. Mohamed Salem Ould Nerzoug, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mauritania, representing the Chair of the African Union for 2024, Mr. Charles Karamba, retired Major General and Ambassador of Rwanda to Ethiopia and Chair of the Africa Hall Advisory Board, and Mr. Claver Gatete, Executive Secretary, Economic Commission for Africa. Welcome once again, bienvenue, marhaba, bienvenue. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now ask that we be on our feet for the AU anthem. Please rise.
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. All sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa a tree of life. Let us all unite and sing together to uphold the bonds that frame our destiny. Let us dedicate ourselves to fight together for lasting peace and justice on earth. All sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us all unite and toil together to give the best we have to Africa, the cradle of mankind and font of culture, our pride and hope and break of dawn. All sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life.
You may take your seats. I am your sister, your daughter, your niece, your student, your teacher, your possible leader one day. I am your friend and I am your people. I hail from this motherland called Africa. Africa. My name is June Kadhoni Gashui, a proud daughter of Kenyan soil, African soil, and I count this a distinct privilege to be your moderator for this auspicious occasion. I would like to start with a solemn statement of remembrance as we call the inauguration to order. We invite the presence of the founders of the OAU Charter, whose faces are here on this mural to my right, as painted by Asefa and Sereke Berham, and whose visionary spirit moves across the corridors right here in Africa Hall. We also invite those who preceded them, those who traversed, those who surmounted, and those who fought across the Caribbean, across Europe, across Africa's mountains, deserts, forests, highlands, and majestic waterways renamed by the colonizers. We remember Marcus Garvey, Frantz Fanon, and Aimé Césaire, the poets and the playwrights and philosophers who, together with the founders in this room, said, "Hurry up, our time has come. African freedom can no longer wait." If there were founding fathers, I put it to you that there were also founding mothers. And we invite the women from east to west, north to south, whose names somehow failed to appear on this mural I highlighted earlier. Maria Nyerere of Tanzania, Maria Obote of Uganda, Ngena Kenyatta of Kenya, Betty Banda Kaunda of Zambia, and Ghana's Helena Ritz Fathia Nkrumah. How can we forget Josina Mutemba, Gracia Machel, Winnie Mandela, Professor Wangari Maathai? They too were preceded by our queens. Ya Asantewaa of Ghana, Amina, Queen of Zaria of Nigeria, Hatshepsut, the first female pharaoh of Egypt, and from Sudan, Queen Amani Renas of the Kingdom of Kush. We must also remember Mekatilili Wamenza, Wango Wamakeri, Mwana Kupona binti Msham, the Berber, Queen Kahina, and the first architects, ladies and gentlemen, the Gabra women. From Angola, Queen Nzinga Mbande of the Mbundu people. From South Africa, Nandi, mother of Shaka Zulu. The Dahomey warriors of Benin, and last but certainly not least, from the host of Africa Hall, Taitu Betul, Empress of Ethiopia and wife of Menelik II. There are more, and there will always be more. And if you listen closely, you can hear their breath gently whistle throughout the building, serving as a reminder that they are watching over us, walking with us, and holding us accountable. And so we acknowledge all the present-day heroes and sheroes in this hall today and in the years to come. Today we renew our commitment to honor the past, respect our present, and protect our future for the generations to come. We choose unity, and we join hands to collectively be stewards of our resources, the rich heritage, the vast land, and our unrivaled diversity when it comes to our culture, as elements that can fuel the wonderful and inspiring art from our creative and cultural industries. We recognize their importance as they have been and will continue to be a vital pillar in contributing to the larger economy of this continent. Today, we fan the flame of our founding parents as we reignite history and steer our continent towards the future Africa that we want and need in 2063 and beyond. So now we call on them, telling them to walk with us on this journey as we sing. Wahamba nati, oh wahamba nati, oh wahamba nati, izinyanya. That means walk with us, our ancestors. Tembea nasi, oh tembea nasi, oh tembea nasi, mababu zetu. Marchez avec nous, oh marchez avec nous, oh marché avec nous, nos ancêtres. Oh, walk with us. Oh, walk with us. Oh, walk with us, our ancestors. I thank you. To those in the room and those following us on our YouTube live stream, the video that we now invite you to watch is a chronicling of the journey of the signing of the OAU Charter in this very room in 1963, and the parallels that challenges the experiences that this continent went through, and how this building symbolically bore the same strain and began to degenerate. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you pay attention to your screens.
In the heart of Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, lies a place where history, struggle, and hope converge. Africa Hall, a witness to Africa's journey through independence, unity, and rebirth. This iconic and historical space was completed with its murals and architecture in 1961 by famed Ethiopian artist Afewerki Tekele, who emotively captured the soul of a continent in his extraordinary three-part triptych. Africa Then, Africa Now, and the Future is a monumental study of the struggle for the total liberation of Africa and the determination to claim its own destiny. 25 years earlier, in 1936, Ethiopia's own Emperor Haile Selassie stood before the League of Nations, warning of the dangers of fascism as Italy invaded his home nation. His pleas for justice were met with silence, a poignant reminder of Africa's struggle and the need for recognition on the world stage. Yet his words echoed throughout time, inspiring generations of African leaders to pursue independence with unyielding determination. And so it was, in the corridors of Africa Hall in May 1963, that 32 African nations came together to form the Organization of African Unity, and signed the very charter that defined its existence within these walls. More than a political alliance, it was a powerful statement of Africa's will to unite, fight for peace, and secure freedom for every last country on the continent. Africa Hall serves as a testimony to this alliance of the unity forged by the men and women of the continent. The vibrant 1970s saw Africa Hall bustling with the energy of a newly liberated continent, the voices of African leaders echoing through its walls as they shaped and shared a vision for Africa's future. This journey, however, was not without its challenges. The continent, which like Africa Hall was once brimming with optimism, was now characterized in the 1980s and 90s by immense obstacles. Civil wars, famine, economic struggles, and political instability all weighed heavily on the continent. However, with the dawn of the 21st century, a new chapter for Africa awakened, including for the now deteriorating Africa Hall. The African Union, the successor of the OAU, ushered in a renewed sense of purpose. The continent embraced challenges of climate change, adopted the African Continental Free Trade Area, mobilized against the COVID-19 pandemic, and committed itself to the path of industrialization and digital transformation, with a new twin promise of Agenda 2063 and Agenda 2030. With African nations now harnessing renewable energies, building vibrant tech systems, and fostering innovation, Africa Hall is once again emerging as a symbol of a much-needed resurgence, a place where a new crop of leaders can reshape the architecture of its founders to tackle Africa's pressing issues, forge solutions, and rebuild a sustainable future for the continent. Throughout the continent's challenges and triumphs, Africa Hall is once again reigniting our history and will stand to remind the next generation of leaders that Africa is a continent that refuses to be defined by its struggles. Its wealth lies in its numerous resources, its heritage, its culture, and its people. It is a living artistic testament to Africa's ability to overcome, to rebuild, and to reimagine its sustainable future. Africa Hall, reigniting history.
Reigniting history, indeed. And now we hear from some very committed people. I want to invite up to offer welcome remarks Mr. Claver Gatete, the Executive Secretary of the Economic Commission for Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Gatete.
Thank you very much, MC. Your Excellency, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellency, Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Your Excellency, Mr. Musa Faki Mohamed, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Your Excellency, Mr. Mohamed Salem Mazoud, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mauritania, representing the Chair of the African Union, Madam Amina Mohamed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Dr. Monique Nsanzabaganwa, Deputy Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Ambassador Major General retired Charles Kalamba, Chair of the Africa Hall Advisory Board, and Ambassador of Rwanda to Ethiopia, and permanent representative to the ECA, honorable ministers and members of the diplomatic community, families of founding members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pride that I welcome you to the celebration of the inauguration of the Africa Hall, an iconic symbol of Africa's shared history, unity, and aspirations. I wish to start by expressing a special gratitude to the government of Ethiopia for the gift of the Africa Hall in 1961, which became the starting point of an African Renaissance. I also wish to convey gratitude to the United Nations General Assembly for sponsoring this project, and the Secretary General, Deputy Secretary General, Controller, and all staff past and present for their unwavering support in preserving Africa's history. Similarly, I want to express our appreciation to the Chair of the African Union Commission, who has worked closely with us to realize the restoration of this historical monument. For us at the ECA, Africa Hall is emblematic of Africa's past struggles and triumphs when the OEU Charter was signed right here in 1963, a signal for a new beginning. And a new beginning is precisely what Africa needs. Today, our continent faces a myriad of challenges, ranging from limited access to financing, high debt levels, and unmanageable climate crisis. Now more than ever, it makes sound economic sense to invest in sectors like tourism that harness our history, culture, and heritage to mobilize resources for national and continental development. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, some of the world's iconic landmarks, such as China's Great Wall, America's Statue of Liberty, France's Eiffel Tower, and India's Taj Mahal, provide practical examples of how history and culture can draw millions of visitors annually and also contribute to shared prosperity. And Africa too, with over 130 World Heritage Sites, has her rich history waiting to be shared with the world. Given Ethiopia's Pan-African legacy and rich history, a renovated Africa Hall is an important investment that positions the country for greater tourism growth while celebrating Africa's collective history and future. Furthermore, through initiatives like the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and visa relaxation policies, we can honor our founding fathers' vision of an integrated Africa by enhancing intra-Africa travel and creating a vibrant tourism market. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to share some details of the refurbished Africa Hall. Despite a 3-year delay due to challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and other external factors, we are proud to have completed this project within budget. We have been able to meticulously preserve the materials from the original 1961 construction, blending the past with the present to create a rejuvenated space that reflects Africa's proud heritage. The hall now stands as a modernized facility equipped with state-of-the-art amenities, a visitor center, permanent exhibition space, and a conference hall to host high-level meetings while maintaining its architectural and historical significance. One of the standout features is the open design of this chamber, an intentional homage to Emperor Haile Selassie, who believed that critical discussions should not be held behind closed doors. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today, as we reflect on Africa's whole past, we also look to the future. As such, our physical renovations must go hand in hand with intentional commitment to build a better world for the next generation. Following our adoption of the Pact of the Future, there is no reason why Africa's youth cannot be at the forefront of shaping the continent's future, building on the foundations laid by the path makers in 1963. It is time for more Africans and visitors from around the world to discover Africa's stories here at Africa Hall. 60 years ago, as you saw, visionary leaders gathered in this very hall to lay the foundation for African unity by signing the Charter of the Organization of African Unity. When the next generation gathers here in the decades to come, it is only right that they should be inspired by the efforts we make today to advance the cause of Africa's transformation. Our young people from the model UN who sit with us today and their peers will hold us to account on this one. In closing, I extend my deepest appreciation to the past and present advisory board members of Africa Hall for their continued guidance, and to the African Union and every single staff member of the United Nations, contractors, engineers, artists, and governments that have contributed in one way or another to bring this iconic hall into the 21st century, ensuring that it remains a place of learning and inspiration for generations to come. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much for those words, Mr. Clava Gatete. And indeed, it's great to know that there are young people in this room who sit among us and who will truly hold us to account. And also for highlighting how many I think the number was 130 that you said, that we have as World Heritage Sites right here in Africa. Thank you for that reminder. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we hear from a gentleman who is no stranger to anybody here. Allow me now to welcome Mr. Charles Karamba. And Mr. Karamba is a Major General retired, and I would like to ask him now to take the podium and address us. Please put your hands together as Mr. Charles Karamba comes.
Your Excellence, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellence Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Your Excellence Musa Faki Mahamat, Chairperson of the African Union, Your Excellency Mohamed Salem,
Mazudki, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, Your Excellency Ambassador Clever Gatete, Executive Secretary of UNECA, Excellencies, Ministers, Excellencies, Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. As Chair of the Advisory Board of the Africa Hall Renovation Project, I extend my deepest appreciation to the Executive Secretary of the Economic Commission for Africa, Ambassador Clever Gatete, his deputy, Mr. Antonio Pedro, and all senior representatives from Ethiopia, the African Commission, UNESCO, the ECA Africa Hall Project Team, and the United Nations Department of Management in New York. Our role as the board has been to steer the project towards a successful outcome. This was made possible by dedicated efforts of the Africa Hall Project team, who ensured that the project was completed on time, within the approved budget, and with careful adherence to its scope. I also commend the board for its diligent approach in overseeing progress, especially with respect to risk management and heritage preservation. Africa Hall holds immense significance in the political and economic history of our continent. This building, gifted by His Royal Highness Emperor Haile Selassie, provided a home for Africa's independence movement, a place for our leaders to discuss our collective challenges and to chart a prosperous future. In this regard, I want to acknowledge the valuable contributions of Ambassador Konjit, our Ethiopian representative, whose dedication and institutional memory have been so critical to the success of this project. Over the years, many board chairs have contributed to the progress we celebrate today. I would like to acknowledge their efforts, including during the challenging COVID-19 period, when perseverance and adaptation were required to maintain the momentum of this important work. Throughout this process, we have placed great emphasis on preserving Africa's rich heritage. The architectural integrity of Africa Hall has been meticulously restored, along with its remarkable artistic works, including the renowned stained glass mural by the late Afwerki Tekle. This mural, symbolizing the total liberation of Africa, is a profound reminder of our shared history. As we reflect on where we have come from, we are better equipped to determine our future direction. The renovated Africa Hall is more than just a building. It stands as a monument for Africa's journey. It is our hope that this will inspire all who visit to reflect on our past, to assess our present, and to chart a better course for future generations. To conclude, Excellencies, I urge all United Nations member states to continue their support for this important initiative. Contributions of artworks and historical resources will ensure that Africa Hall remains a symbol of our heritage for generations to come. I welcome you all to the new and renovated Africa Hall. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles Karamba, for the work that you have done as the chair of the Africa Hall Advisory Board. I had a chance to walk around, and I really hope that you will take a moment to see the exhibition and look at some of the artistic works that he has mentioned. Now I will invite our orchestra, our string quartet, Quartet Addis to entertain us with a piece, and then we will continue with the formal part of our program. Welcome. Thank you, Quartet Addis, a familiar tune indeed. I like how music is weaving its way into our program today. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker will be His Excellency Antonio Guterres, who is the Secretary General of the United Nations. Your Excellency, benvindo.
Dear Prime Minister Abiy, dear Chairperson Moussa Faki, dear friends and colleagues, it is an enormous pleasure to join all of you for this moment of history in this house of history. I thank all our partners, particularly the government of Ethiopia, along with our own United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, for the tremendous work. The hall is where Africa came together to give life to the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union. Times were very different. In 961, when this hall was inaugurated by Emperor Haile Selassie, only 26 African nations had achieved independence, many of them just months before. Today, Africa is a transformed continent. And to my mind, this renewed building symbolized renewed hope and unity for Africa. The hall is a bridge between Africa's past and future, honoring shared struggles and achievements while embracing common aspirations. It is Ubuntu, a state-of-the-art 21st century facility that preserves the grandeur and history of this great continent. I also see it as an invitation for everyone to cooperate in pursuit of a better future for Africa and for the world. Dear friends, As we celebrate this new beginning, we must also acknowledge the challenges ahead of us. Africa is a continent of hope, but it faces challenges that are deeply rooted in history and are exacerbated by climate change, conflict, and persistent poverty. And African women often bear the brunt of these hardships. Addressing these issues requires resolute action and renewed solidarity. Our global institutions were built at a time when most of Africa was under colonial rule. But unlike this hall with its 21st century innovations, many of these global institutions are stuck in those times, unable to respond to the aspirations and rights of the African people. Africa still has no permanent seat at the Security Council. Let's hope it will be corrected soon. And international financial institutions often cannot provide African countries with the response they need, where it is protection from strangling debt or from climate catastrophe they did not cause. We can only move forward if we also renew and update global institutions by making them more effective, fair, and inclusive. Last month, world leaders adopted the Pact for the Future, the Global Digital Compact, and the Declaration on Future Generations. The Pact recognizes the needs to reform the Security Council, to make it representative, transparent, efficient, democratic, and accountable. It also calls for groundbreaking reforms of the international financial architecture, including to massively scale up affordable development and climate finance. And the Global Digital Compact includes the first truly universal agreement on the governance of artificial intelligence, giving every country a seat at the table while supporting partnerships to bridge the digital divide and build AI capacity in developing countries, and namely in Africa. We must now move forward together in implementing these historic agreements without delay. And we must include young people at every step of the way. Dear friends, for more than 60 years, the Africa Hall has been a symbol of the continent's collective aspirations, a testament to its resilience and beacon of hope for entire generations. Today, as we step into this renewed space, let us also renew our pledge to work for the people of Africa and the world we need. May the debates and discussions here continue to lead towards greater peace, unity, and prosperity for all in the African continent. And I thank you.
Thank you, SG. Thank you for reminding us about this bridge, the bridge that connects the past and the future that we are already living in. You mentioned AI, artificial intelligence, which is already living among us, literally. So thank you for those remarks in your statement. It is now my distinct pleasure to invite next to share his thoughts, His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, who is the chairperson of the African Union Commission. A round of applause as he comes.
Excellence, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Premier ministre de l'Éthiopie. Excellence, Antonio Guterres, secrétaire général des Nations Unies. Excellence, Monsieur le Président du Conseil exécutif, mon frère Mohamed Salim Merzouk, représentant son Excellence, Monsieur Mohamed Cheikh Al-Ghazouani, président en exercice de l'Union africaine. Excellence, Monsieur le secrétaire exécutif de la Commission économique des Nations Unies pour l'Afrique, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs, distingués invités, Mesdames et Messieurs. Je suis honoré de me joindre à vous aujourd'hui pour l'inauguration de cette emblématique Africa Hall, destiné à être un lieu de remembrance, d'historicisme et de motivation inspiratrice. Symbole resplendissant et sage témoin de notre parcours collectif en tant qu'Africains. Africa Hall attestera notre engagement commun en faveur de la vision panafricaine. Je tiens à féliciter l'Assemblée générale des Nations unies, le gouvernement éthiopien et la Commission économique des Nations unies pour l'Afrique pour la réalisation de ce projet historique de grande portée morale. Excellences, notre présence avec vous ici aujourd'hui est une sorte de serment de loyauté à nos pères fondateurs dont l'aventure unitaire et intégrationniste est partie d'ici. Je pense à Sa Majesté l'Empereur Haïlé Sélassié, ces nationalistes et ces panafricanistes qui a mis à disposition cet endroit pour l'Afrique. Je pense également à Jamal Abdel Nasser, à Kwame Nkrumah, à Mwalimu Nyerere et à tous ces leaders africains qui ont donné naissance à l'Organisation de l'Unité africaine ici, dans cette salle. Ainsi, pour la Commission de l'Union africaine, l'événement d'aujourd'hui n'est pas seulement une célébration du passé, mais un réengagement en faveur de notre avenir collectif. Cet avenir collectif que porte l'agenda 2063, qui est le cadre stratégique de l'Union africaine et qui sert de plan directeur pour transformer l'Afrique en une puissance politique, diplomatique, économique, monétaire et financière. Il s'agit d'un programme inspiré par les aspirations de nos peuples, un programme qui s'appuie sur les valeurs fondamentales de nos pères fondateurs. C'est sur cette base que les aspirations contenues dans l'agenda 2063 et déclinées en projets phares ont commencé à voir le jour. La zone de libre-échange continentale africaine, CELECAF, constitue une pierre angulaire de nos efforts collectifs en faveur d'une plus grande prospérité. L'objectif de cet accord historique est la création d'un marché unique qui permettra la libre circulation des biens, des services et des capitaux à travers nos frontières. Je rappelle que cette question a été discutée ici dans cette salle en 1963 et décidée. Nous devons nous rappeler que le commerce va de pair avec la libre circulation des personnes. Par conséquent, la mise en œuvre du protocole sur la libre circulation des personnes et le passeport panafricain doivent être des étapes cruciales vers une plus grande intégration. Ils sont essentiels pour garantir que les personnes, nos biens et nos services traversent les frontières sans entrave, favorisant ainsi le renforcement des liens économiques et le partage de la prospérité. Nous pouvons d'ores et déjà commencer à voir le potentiel d'une intégration économique renforcée sur notre continent. Des plantations de cacao d'Afrique de l'Ouest aux solutions énergétiques qui émergent en Afrique de l'Est et en Afrique australe. L'Afrique est prête à exploiter ses ressources naturelles et humaines comme jamais auparavant. En outre, l'Agence de développement de l'Union africaine, ODA-NEPAD, reste essentielle pour faire progresser le développement des infrastructures, l'industrialisation et la croissance durable de l'Afrique. Nos efforts en matière de paix et de sécurité ont été considérablement renforcés par l'architecture africaine de paix et de sécurité, qui elle-même renforce la capacité de l'Afrique à résoudre les conflits et maintenir la paix. Les structures de gouvernance telles que le mécanisme africain d'évaluation par les pairs, MAEP, continuent de défendre les principes démocratiques et de promouvoir le développement socio-économique sur tout le continent par les biais d'évaluation volontaire par les pairs. Le Centre africain de contrôle et de prévention des maladies, Africa CDC, une institution créée en 2017, est également devenue essentielle dans la gestion des crises de santé publique, comme elle l'a démontré pendant la pandémie de la COVID-19 et plus récemment le virus Mpox. L'Union africaine ayant désormais obtenu le statut de membre du G20, notre influence sur la scène mondiale s'accroît. Cela met en relief l'importance d'investir continuellement dans le rôle de l'Union africaine en tant qu'autorité centrale sur les questions clés de l'Afrique. Monsieur le secrétaire général des Nations Unies, Monsieur le secrétaire exécutif de l'UNECA, nous sommes dans votre siège. Aussi, je voudrais me féliciter du partenariat entre les Nations Unies et l'Union africaine. Nous venons de terminer, Monsieur le Premier ministre Abiy Ahmed, la 8e session de dialogue stratégique entre les Nations Unies et l'Union africaine, dialogue qui a renforcé considérablement notre partenariat, surtout sur les questions de paix, de sécurité, de développement et du rôle que doit jouer l'Afrique sur la scène internationale. Ensemble, nous jetons les bases de l'Afrique que nous voulons. Nous nous efforçons de concrétiser la vision de nos pères fondateurs, tel que l'ouvrage que nous inaugurons aujourd'hui en constitue la meilleure incarnation. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you for highlighting a very important issue in Africa, public health, and also for reminding us that trade does go hand in hand with unity. Our next speaker will be His Excellency Mohammed Ould Sheikh El Ghazouani, President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania and Chair of the African Union for 2024, but represented here today by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Mohammed Salim Ould Merzoug. Please join us up here on the podium.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. أيها الجمع الكريم، يشرفني أن أنقل إليكم تحيات صاحب الفخامة سيد محمد شيخ الغزواني، رئيس الجمهورية الإسلامية الموريتانية، رئيس الحالي للاتحاد الأفريقي. ويسعدني أن ألقي باسمه أمامكم اليوم خطابه بمناسبة تدشين أفريكا هول بعد ترميمها. صاحب المعالي دكتور أبي أحمد، رئيس وزراء جمهورية إثيوبيا الفيدرالية الديمقراطية، صاحب المعالي أنطونيو غوتيريس الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة، صاحب المعالي وأخي العزيز والأخ الفاضل مصطفى محمد، رئيس مفوضية الاتحاد الأفريقي، صاحب المعالي سفير كلافير كاتيتي الأمين التنفيذي للجنة الاقتصادية لإفريقيا، صاحب السعادة السفير الفريق شارل كارامبا، رئيس المجلس الاستشاري لأفريكا هول، أصحاب السعادة والمعالي ممثلي الحكومات والمنظمات، السادة الضيوف الكرام، أيها السادة والسيدات. ها نحن نجتمع اليوم في هذا المكان المهيب بما يحمل من دلالة رمزية مثيرة لعواطفنا جميعا لتدشين أفريكا هول بعد ترميمها. في هذه اللحظة الشاهدة على اضطرابات الكبرى، إن هذا الحدث ينطوي على دلالة تحيلنا إلى سنوات مجد قارتنا الإفريقية. إن هذا الحدث مهم، فلسنا هنا أمام مجرد قاعة بسيطة وشجران مرممة، طبقات طلاء متناثرة هنا وهناك، وإطارات تم استردادها. فالأمر في المحصلة يتعلق بحيز مكاني تذكاري، هو بمثابة شاهد تاريخي وتأسيسي لمنظمتنا المعروفة حينها بمنظمة الوحدة الإفريقية، التي تشكل منظمتنا اليوم امتدادا لها. في هذه اللحظة وفي هذا المكان الذي كان في يوم من عام 1963 شاهدا على ميلاد منظمتنا القارية. أغتنم المناسبة لتوجيه تحيات الإجلال إلى آبائنا المؤسسين. هنا انعقدت أول قمة إفريقية، ومثل ذلك أعظم حدث في تاريخنا المشترك، حدث استقبل بالفرح والبهجة بين جدران أفريكا هول، التي تعيدنا في نشوة مشاعر يقصر عنها الوصف إلى ذكريات ميلادنا ووجودنا. وهنا أود أن أشكر الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة أنطونيو غوتيريس على ما تم من ترميم وتحديث لأفريكا هول لتعود كما كانت، صرحا شامخا يضرب جذوره بقوة في الذاكرة والمخيلة الجماعية، من أجل أن تبعث بنا من جديد جذوة الحياة، وتذكرنا نحن الورثة الأوفياء دائما بالآمال والطموحات التي ظلت تسكن على الدوام آباءنا المؤسسين الطامحين إلى دفع قدما بالقارة الإفريقية على درب تقدم ورقي. أصحاب المعالي، أصحاب السعادة، السيدات والسادة، تحمل أفريكا هول دلالة رمزية، خاصة لأنها ظلت بهذا اليوم من عام 1963 ميلاد في فكرة تتجه لبناء إفريقيا وفق طموح معين وتجسيد لحلم ظل ولأمد بعيد حبيس الوهم، فأصبح منذ تلك اللحظة حقيقة تحت مسمى منظمة الوحدة الإفريقية. منذ ذلك الحين شغل هذا الكيان موقعا مكينا في قلوب الأفارقة قادة وشعوبا، ذلك أن هذه المنظمة كانت تتماهى على الدوام مع نقطة الانطلاق الإفريقية هاته، التي تجسد تحقيق الحلم الإفريقي في الوحدة والاندماج والحرية والاستقلال والتنمية والرخاء. وما فتئ هذا الحلم يتقدم ويخطو على درب مساره يوما بعد يوم، رويدا بفضل حكمة الأبناء المؤسسين، وظل يتعزز أكثر فأكثر عبر أجيال من القادة الذين تعاقبوا على سدة حكم تلك البلدان. وفي مقدوري أن أقول بأني مقتنع بأن هذا الحلم سيتحقق برمته في نهاية المطاف بكل قوة وعزم. حينها ستتخلص إفريقيا من كل العقبات والمشاكل التي كانت تعاني منها غداة انعقاد تلك القمة التي مضى عليها 61 عاما، فأصبح بإمكانها أن تتبوأ موقعا طلائعيا على مستوى العالم. وغدت إفريقيا منذ ذلك الحين متحررة من الرواسب موحدة مندمجة بسكان ينعمون بالسلم والأمان والتنمية والرخاء. أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، السيدات والسادة، ليس يسعدني في هذا المقام إلا أن نعبر باسم الاتحاد الإفريقي عن منتهى التقدير للدور الذي لعبه آباء المؤسسون عندما اجتمعوا هنا في سياق قاري مليء بالتحديات من أجل إنشاء منظمة الوحدة الإفريقية التي هي الصرح والأصل الأول للاتحاد الإفريقي اليوم. أود أن أعبر لأجيال من القادة الذين سبقونا، وأكررها دون ملل، عن إعجابي الكامل بحكمتهم وطموحهم ونفاذ بصيرتهم وإرادتهم التي لا تلين، وغير ذلك من المزايا التي مكنتهم من تأسيس الاتحاد الإفريقي وتجسيد طموحات الأفارقة بالحقبة التي عاشوا فيها والأجيال التي تلت ذلك. فالعمل كان جبارا والتحديات هائلة بالنظر إلى نقص الموارد الذي فاقمته المخلفات العميقة لعقود طويلة من الاستعمار واتسمت به من تنكيل ونهب لكل الثروات. تواضعي هذا في هذا المقام لا يمكنه إخفاء ربطتي واعتزازي بمشاركة بلادي الجمهورية الإسلامية الموريتانية ممثلة بشخص أول رئيس لها المغفور له إن شاء الله مختار الداداه في هذه القمة الأولى التي تم تخصيصها للوحدة الإفريقية. في هذا الوقت الذي أدشن فيه معكم اليوم أفريكا هول التي استقبلت هذه اللحظة الأولى لمنظمتنا بوصف رئيس الاتحاد الإفريقي، لا يسعني إلا أن أجدد التعلق المتجذر لبلدي بأهداف ومبادئ الاتحاد الإفريقي وبدوره الرائد والمستمر في تحقيق أهدافه. أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، سيدات والسادة، تحت سقف أفريكا هول عمد الآباء المؤسسون إلى صياغة أهداف الوحدة الإفريقية، ومن أهمها تحقيق الوحدة والتضامن بين الدول الإفريقية وتسريع الاندماج السياسي والاقتصادي والاجتماعي للقارة. ومن أجل تحقيق هذه الأهداف قمنا معا بإصلاح للاتحاد الإفريقي لكي تتبناه كل الدول الأعضاء وتنخرط فيه باعتباره الأداة الرئيسية لإقامة الوحدة الإفريقية. كما قمنا كذلك بإنشاء عدد من الآليات الإفريقية من أجل تسهيل بلوغ الأهداف المحددة من قبل الآباء المؤسسين، منها مجلس السلم والأمن سباس، ومنها لودانيبات، فضلا عن ترسانة من الأدوات منها الآلية الإفريقية للتقويم المتبادل بواسطة الأقران، المجلس الاقتصادي والاجتماعي للاتحاد الإفريقي والبرلمان الإفريقي والمنطقة الإفريقية للتبادل الحر زليكا. ولا يسعني هنا إلا أن أشيد هنا بالدعم الهام المقدم من قبل اللجنة الاقتصادية للأمم المتحدة لإفريقيا والجهود التي ما فتئت تبذلها للرفع من مستوى سلاسل القيمة على مستوى القارة الإفريقية إلى حدودها القصوى، وخلق اقتصاد إفريقي تنافسي ومتنوع ومندمج. ومن أجل تحقيق أهداف وحدتنا التي تم التأسيس لها في أفريكا هول وموازاة مع أجندة 2030 للأمم المتحدة للتنمية المستدامة، أطلقت قارتنا هي الأخرى أجندة 2063 إفريقيا التي نريد. وقد دخلت هذه الآلية في السنة الماضية في عشريتها الثانية. نعمل على الدوام بتوظيف جهودنا الخاصة وبالتعاون مع الأمم المتحدة والشركاء من أجل التنفيذ وتحقيق التطلعات المعبر عنها في هذا المضمار سنة بعد سنة وعقد بعد عقد. على الرغم من الصعوبات الكبيرة والعراقيل الهائلة، فإننا مصممون على متابعة تنفيذ هذه الأجندة بكل انسجام وصبر. ومن أجل تحقيق تطلعات هذه الأجندة وأهداف وحدتنا التي تم وضعها في أفريكا هول منذ عقود عديدة، ولأننا اليوم ونحن في هذا الصرح بمعية الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة، فإننا نجدد مطالبتنا الملحة بإجراء إصلاح عاجل في المجلس الأمن الدولي حتى تتأخذ القارة الإفريقية مكانته الشرعية في هذه الهيئة بالغة القيمة. ولا يخفى عليكم أن هذه الخطوة تعزز الشمولية وتعضد نظام الحوكمة العالمية، كما أنها تفتح الطريق نحو إصلاحات ضرورية إلى حد كبير يتعين إجراؤها على مستوى المؤسسات المالية والمنظومة العالمية والمنظمة التجارة العالمية، وهي ستمكن في هذا المضمار من معالجة مسألة المديونية إفريقيا في أقرب الآجال. تحيا إفريقيا موحدة وتحيا أفريكا هول، رمز الوحدة الإفريقية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
Thank you once again for those remarks and for reminding us about the joy and the delight. I think keeping in mind just how difficult that time was back in 1963, that they achieved something, our founding fathers achieved something so great, one little dream, that there was joy and delight. And I hope that that carries through, as you have called us loyal heirs. I really like that phrase. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our chief guest is here to offer his keynote address. Would you help me welcome His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia.
Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellency Mustafa Faki Mohammed, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Madam Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellency Mohammed Salem, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Islamic Republic of Mauritania, and Chairperson of the African Union Executive Council, Excellency Clever Gatete, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to all on this remarkable occasion as we proudly unveil the beautifully renovated Africa Hall. If these walls and corridors could speak, they would whisper the stories of a rich history marked by triumphs across the continent and challenges faced along the way. This space has witnessed the birth of the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union, and has stood as a silent witness to crucial deliberations and decisions that have shaped the course of our continent. The restoration and modernization of this iconic building, designed to meet functional and sustainability standards while preserving its artistic and architectural heritage, honors our Pan-African history and reflects our commitment to a shared future. Originally built and donated by the government of Ethiopia, this hall stands as a symbol of unity, hope, and resilience. It was here that the seeds of a continental vision were planted, inspiring our ongoing quest for independence and self-reliance. As we gather here today, we are reminded of our shared values that have united our continent. The decisions made in this hall have echoed far beyond its walls, shapes African lives, influencing policies, and defining our position on the global stage. Excellencies, peace and security are fundamental for Africa's development and prosperity. While our continent has made significant progress towards achieving peace, ongoing conflicts continue to challenge our stability. Drawing from our rich heritage of dialogue and consensus, we must place bold homegrown ideas and initiatives at the forefront to protect the well-being of our people. It is vital that African solutions continue to make precedence in addressing African challenges, guided by the wisdom of our forefathers. Africa Hall is more than just a physical space. It stands as a symbol of the African voice, reminding us of the need for it to reform strong and unwavering on the international stage, advocating for our collective interests in the face of a rapidly changing world. In this spirit, I would like to reiterate Ethiopia's firm belief in the need to reform the UN Security Council, emphasizing the critical importance of Africa securing a permanent seat in line with the common African position. Excellencies, aligned with Sustainable Development Goal 11, which focuses on making cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Our capital, Addis Ababa, alongside cities across the nation, is undergoing a transformation into livable, citizen-centric urban space. The public opening of the Africa Hall contributes to the vision, transforming once restricted areas into vibrant hubs of exploration, learning, and revitalization. As I conclude, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the UN General Assembly for its invaluable support in this endeavor, and to the UN Economic Commission for Africa for all its efforts and gracious opening this magnificent hall to the public. I thank you.
Your Excellency, thank you so much for those remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the formal part of our session this afternoon. And I would like to ask very specifically for these who have shared remarks that have served as a reminder, a rejuvenation, and a collective commitment from these institutions, as well as each of us individually, the sons and daughters of Africa, the loyal heirs. I request that we give them all a round of applause. May I request our guests in the audience to kindly remain seated at this time and invite our dignitaries and speakers to please stand for one final photo with this beautiful backdrop here. Our media team are ready. Just a few moments as we organize the podium. 61 years from now, this will be the photo, so give us a few minutes to organize ourselves. Thank you. We will now allow them to take their leave. And once again, I request that you remain seated. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to guide us on our movement from here. Please remain seated as I guide us on our movement from this hall. I will request that you give us just a minute and we will then release you. Your attention, please. Your attention kindly. From here, we shall move to the rotunda, which is located on the ground floor. We will be hosting a reception cocktail hosted by the Moroccan Chamber of Crafts. You will be treated to a fusion of Moroccan takshita worn by some beautiful Ethiopian sisters who are our models this evening. And we will also dance to some lively Moroccan music and sample some delicious food. Our ushers will guide you if you are unsure of the directions. And once again, thank you for being here as we reignite history at the Inauguration of Africa Hall. Good evening.